Lekker Armand Hofmeyer, lekker TV. Die man by die beste gitaar speel wat ek nog ooit in my lewe gesien het. Dan Patlansky, welcome.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me on the show,
All
man.
right. And Dan said his Afrikaans isn't that good.
It's not great,
Oh,
man.
come on.
It's a bit bleak, man, you know.
Sê ek het jou lief.
What?
Ek het jou lief.
Ek het jou lief.
Yeah, do you know what that means? Okay, I won't tell anybody. That's not too bad, hey?
It's not, oh, you know, it's always been a bit sketchy, you know what I mean? It's like I can understand bits and bobs, but wow, I can dig myself into deep holes, you know, deep holes. Yeah.
All right, Dan, for the people, they should, but for the people, they've never heard of you before. Maybe there's somebody there, maybe one person or so. Where were you born?
I'm born and bred Joburg, Joburg guy, the Northcliffe area in Joburg. Went to school there, yeah, kind of grew up there until very recently because I live in Pretoria now, yeah.
Okay, Northcliffe High.
Northcliffe High, that's it.
Tell me you were a head boy there.
No, not
Come
even
on,
close, Dan. Not even close, you know. I was there for I actually did like a whole bunch of high schools, you know. I was one of those guys, unfortunately, you know. So I did Northcliffe, I did Damlin, I did School of Arts. That's where I actually ended up in Braamfontein, National School of Arts, yeah.
What was the first song you heard on radio or wherever, or maybe a band played, or maybe your parents played it when you were at home? The first song that you heard and you said to yourself, I want to become a musician. Do you remember?
Easy, that's an easy one. And that's Pink Floyd, Shine on You Crazy Diamond. I mean, that just blew my mind. Not only did it want to make me want to be a guitar player, because guitar playing is so just soulful and beautiful, it was just such like a dark and just beautiful thing happening on that song, or all their music really, on that whole album, yeah.
Did you listen to all kinds of music when you were a youngster, like high school, or did you listen to, I mean, there were a lot of rock bands out in those days as well, but you're a brilliant blues guitarist, you love your blues, but how did you get involved with the blues rather than the commercial rock stuff?
You know, obviously when I was a kid, like a really young kid, I was kind of listening to what all the other kids in my school were listening to. But more on the rock side of things. I was like into Guns N' Roses and, all the 80s kind of stuff. Guns N' Roses, Poison, those cats, And then when I started playing music, because I listened to blues so much, my parents played blues constantly, and blues rock. So like Zeppelin, on the blues rock side, and classic blues. That when I started picking up the guitar, it seemed to be like the most obvious choice to play, and it almost seemed to be the thing I understood the most. Because I heard it so much, and because that seed I think was planted like really, really early on, yeah.
We'll talk more about Stevie Ray Vaughan and all those great guitarists. I mean, even Jimi Hendrix. I want to know, you think about it, in about half an hour I'll ask you, you must mention your top 5 guitarists of all time. It's a tough one.
Yeah, easy.
I think it's time to grab that guitar. Listen, Dan, your new album is out called Clear. What?
Dear Silence Thief.
Oh dear, but it looks like a C and an L.
So, a fancy text.
I'm going like, okay, Clear, what?
Dear Silence Thieves.
Dear Silence Thieves. Okay, zoom in here quickly, see if you can get that. It's very, the way it's done, it's like you have to look
at it.
Maybe it's my eyesight.
Yeah.
So you're going to do a song from this brand new album for us. What is the song called? Where did you write it?
It's a song called Madison Lane. I actually co-wrote it with Ross Learmonth and Dale from Prime Circle.
Okay.
And it's I wrote it almost a year ago. It was the first song I wrote for the album.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was like the kind of the initial thing. And I'm glad it actually made the album, because normally the first song you write for the album doesn't ever come close to making the album. So I was actually glad and really chuffed about the album, and one of my favorite songs to play live.
What is the song all about?
It's kind of a bleak affair. It kind of sounds like a love song, but it's I saw a documentary about, I can't remember the girl's name, a particular girl in the States that just had this all these bad circumstances happening in her life, and she eventually committed suicide, and it was such a sad kind of tale that I kind of wrote the song. I couldn't remember her name, so I kind of named this fictional character Madison Lane.
Hier is Dan Patlansky op Lekker TV Unplugged. Enjoy it.
She holds up both of her shoulders. She rolls up the sheets on bed. She looks up them on the wall. Honestly, she fought. Honestly, she did her best to live. I never knew love. I earned my keep in bed. Walls too high. She lit up out in a rainstorm. She folded a note in her hand. Like the rain falls, silent and graceful, she fell down while telling the Lord. Honestly, she fought. Honestly, she did her best to live. I never knew love. I earned my keep in bed. I never knew love. I earned my keep in bed. Walls too high. Madison Lane. Whoa, Madison Lane. She came and she went, hanging pictures, them on the wall.
Dan Patlansky, are you enjoying it here?
Fantastic, man. Loving it, man.
Oh, sorry I couldn't get you a nice South African beer, but we've got work to do, you know what I mean?
Exactly. You got to work some point. You know what I mean?
Tell me, you're a great musician at school. You picked up your guitar and whatever, but did you do any sport at school? I'd love to know, because you look like a soccer player maybe, I don't know, tennis player?
Believe it or not, I was like really into rugby when I was in like standard 6. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, us English guys, we don't play rugby in primary school. You know, it's like a high school thing. So we were a little bit behind. And I was kind of bigger than a lot of the kids in like standard 6, so I could play rugby. But that was short-lived, because I was this size in standard 6, and the other guys just didn't stop growing.
Taller and taller.
Yeah,
do you love sport, watching sport?
I do. I really enjoy rugby. I really enjoy kind of international cricket, you know.
Okay.
And yeah, I actually am a sports guy. I really dig the sports thing and the whole competitive thing of it, and it's a fantastic thing. Actually, one of my favorite things is watching golf before I go to sleep.
Ah, okay.
You know, with all the birds tweeting and stuff, you can kind of
brilliant, relax.
like zen out.
Do you play golf?
I played a couple of years ago and decided to cut my losses. Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't great, yeah.
Well, you were good at the 19th hole, I heard.
Yeah,
That's
fantastic.
So, what made you become a musician? I mean, was it after you left school or during school? The first time you held that guitar on your lap, or maybe, I mean, in your room with the door closed, did you say to yourself, I want to be a rock star? Come on, Dan.
Well, without a question. Without a question. For me, and you're so right in saying that, because the guitar and the Fender Strat in particular, it's such a special thing for me. I still today kind of put it on my lap and go, oh, look at this thing. You know what I mean? It's just so incredible. I did. It was in high school. I never dreamt I could ever kind of make it as a professional musician. It was always a dream. And you know, luckily enough, it just kind of happened. You know what I mean? Just gigging enough. You know, in school still I was gigging, and you know, kind of like having a few hours sleep and then going to school the next day, which my parents weren't chuffed about. But in the same sense, they were very supportive. And that's only the way I think I could have made it as a professional musician, is just having the support of the parents.
Yeah. Did you teach yourself to play guitar? Did you go for guitar lessons?
I initially went to the guy down the road, just learned the basic chords and all that sort of stuff, lost interest. And then when I kind of regained the interest when I got an electric guitar, then I, for the most part, taught myself. I mean, I learned a bit of National School of Arts, the theory side of it, but I could already kind of play at that point. So it was just kind of listening to CDs of my favorite guitar players, favorite bands, and kind of working them out and seeing what these guys are doing and trying to put that stuff into my own playing and trying to write better songs and nothing's changed, man. It's still the same vibe for me.
Dan Patlansky kuier hier saam met my. Hy gaan nog 'n liedjie doen so 'n bietjie later op sy akoestiese gitaar. Ek gaan 'n bietjie meer vertel oor sy nuwe CD en dan gaan hy ook oor see. Hy gaan 'n groot toer doen en Mississippi. Wat het gebeur toe hy nou daar aankom? Ek wil 'n bietjie uitvind hoe hy sy eerste plate kontrak geteken het en daai tipe van ding. Bly net daar, ons is nou terug.
Lekker legendes.
Lekker TV, ek is Barney. Dan Patlansky kom kuier hier saam met my. Ons is nog so 'n halfuur oor of so. And you're still going to do another unplugged song for us, right?
I would love to, man.
Now, it's going to be a blues number.
Yes.
Because that's the stuff you like. Tell us about the humble beginnings. I mean, this promoter, was it a record company that got hold of you? How did it work? Did you send your demos over? Because you ended up in Mississippi, right? What happened?
Well, what happened was, I actually played a show in Durban, can't remember the venue, and this guy came and he said, I've got a cousin in the States who's this big time manager, ex-South African guy, a guy called Selwyn Miller. Used to be a band manager in South Africa in the Cape Town in the 70s. And I thought, yeah. I've heard that a million times. And this guy flew out from the States to come watch a show, and he loves the blues thing, he loves the blues rock thing. And he said, well, come over and let's see what happens. I packed my bags, went across for a year, that was the plan. And stuff was going great there when I started. I had a fantastic band, like real deal blues guy band, We did a whole bunch of shows around Louisiana, Mississippi, parts of Texas, And then, unfortunately, Hurricane Katrina rolled in literally a month after I landed. And being a South African, you don't know much about hurricanes because we don't get natural disasters here. And it obviously turned out to be quite a serious thing, and we kind of evacuated to this small town called Mobile in Alabama. And the hurricane hit us just as hard there. And that kind of put a swift end to all touring, and I was supposed to be B.B. King's support act on, a couple months later. I had Steve Ray Vaughan's rhythm section band lined up to play on my next album. It was all this exciting stuff, on the cards. And bam, the hurricane kind of blew in and put a swift end to it. But it was a good thing because I think I was too young to be recording with Steve Ray Vaughan's band, too inexperienced. So I think maybe in a way it was a good thing, but it was a sad thing. Yeah.
What was the atmosphere like? I mean, when that hit, how they stuck together. It took a little bit a while for Bush to decide to help the people. I remember people freaked out about that. But what was it like in the street with that hurricane, the chaos? I mean, what went through your mind? It must have been a freak out.
So, I mean, obviously New Orleans was like the hardest hit city, right? And that's where I was living. And the reason is because it's a bowl, it's under sea level, so all the water buckets in there. So that was chaos. Now, fortunately for me, we got out of that because that was, it was like do or die kind of in New Orleans. The place that we were staying was quite a rural part of Alabama, and everyone was pulling together because street poles were kind of over the roads, and you couldn't drive anywhere because you couldn't get out of the town. So it took a week to kind of get out of there. And everyone, I mean, we didn't have proper food in the house, me and Selwyn were staying. So the neighbors were inviting us over to eat. They were cooking food for us. You know what I mean? It was a fantastic kind of, I don't know what the word is, camaraderie, I suppose, with all the people kind of helping everyone out.
Yeah.
But back in New Orleans, we kept on seeing this on the news because I went up to Los Angeles afterwards and I saw what was actually happening in New Orleans, and it was so sad and it looked scary actually.
Did you after experiencing that, did you write any songs about the situation you were in or whatever? Did that inspire you?
I did. I mean, the strangest thing is I recorded a song live on air on this little boutique radio station, New Orleans radio station. The whole band went in, we played live on air, and we played with this New Orleans piano player who was the DJ. And it was the day before Katrina hit. And many years after, they sent me the recording, and I put it on an old album called Real, and I called that song Blues for New Orleans because, it was just a jam, and it just came out so fantastically with all these real deal New Orleans players. And all those guys are like scattered all over the States now because, their homes got kind of wrecked and they had to move the kids out of the schools and all that sort of stuff. So that song came out of it, yeah.
Would you ever go and live there?
I would and I wouldn't, I love the music scene there, I love the music there, but I must say I miss South Africa so much being there. I can't even tell you, it was quite an exhausting experience, and the hurricane didn't help,
Yeah.
It'd been thrown in the middle, but there's something about South Africa. I love touring there, we tour in Europe a lot, we tour in the States occasionally, but it's always so good to come home, man, it really is, and our music scene's on the up and up, I believe,
'n trotse Suid-Afrikaner gaan koop sy nuwe CD. Hierdie is sy CD Dan Patlansky. And it's also on iTunes, right?
It's on iTunes, yeah.
Okay, great. So lekker. What is the next song you're going to do first?
I'm going to do a song I wrote years ago, a blues song called Hot as Stone.
Dan Patlansky, take it away.
And now look at me, baby. What have you done to me? Yeah, child. And now look at me, baby. What have you done to me? I was once blind, but now I can see. Yeah, child, yeah. You've been cheating like sneaking around somebody's home. You've been cheating like sneaking around somebody's home. Yeah, child. You want more? Baby knows with a heart of stone, yeah. Yeah, child. You more? Baby knows with a heart of stone, yeah. Yeah, child. Yeah.
Dan Patlansky, my in-studio guest. Hy het so 'n bietjie kom kuier vandag. Nou Dan, jou top 5 guitarists van alle tye, your top 5 guitarists of all time. And I mean, when people ask me, I go Jimi Hendrix, But I'd love to know, in your top 5, if Hendrix is in there. I mean, we've got the Knopfler, Mark Knopfler, you know, Dire Straits, there's Brian May. Now we're talking about rock guitarists, but then, I mean, the blues guys, I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan, it's going to be a tough choice, huh?
It is, but for me, it's actually quite simple. I've got like my 5 guys that are my go-to guys, and like, in no particular order. Stevie Ray Vaughan, without a question. I mean, he's possibly my biggest influence on my playing. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Hendrix, without a question of a doubt. I mean, Hendrix changed guitar playing for everyone. He really did in the 60s.
He turned his guitar around, remember, because he was left-handed.
Backwards.
So then he put the strings the other way around. I mean,
it was
what
incredible.
a
And he just changed the way people played guitar and thought about guitar music and all that sort of thing. And then a couple of the other guys are kind of more obscure. There's a guy called Derek Trucks. I don't know if you've ever heard of
him. I'm going to investigate. He's
Derek
got a couple of albums out.
Yeah, he's got like a whole bunch of albums. He's one of the sons of the Allman Brothers guys, you know,
right.
the drummer, the drummer, and he is fantastic. There's a new guy in the States that I'm so influenced by at the moment, and he has to be in my top 5. He's influenced me that much. This guy called Philip Sace, incredible, like more of a rock guy, incredible. And then I'd have to say Jimmy Page, man, because
brilliant.
Because just of the songs he wrote, and it's just an incredible thing, yeah.
So no Vietons, né? I'm glad you mentioned Jimi Hendrix. I think you can ask anybody in the street, whoever you are, if you don't mention Jimi Hendrix, then you shouldn't love music, you know what I mean?
Without a doubt, yeah.
Okay, kom ons kyk na die volgende video. Dis Lekker TV. Dan Patlansky is saam met my vandag. Dan Patlansky kom kuier hier saam met Dan, without bragging, okay? Now this album of yours, what was it nominated for? What was it voted best what?
It was voted by Blues Rock Review in the States, the best blues rock album of 2014. So man, I was just chuffed to end last year with that.
And who were you up against? I mean, some good guitarists.
I was up against like the Black Keys, Joe Bonamassa, who is the biggest guy in the world at the moment. Philip Sace, the guy I mentioned earlier. Robert Cray. Yeah, man, so many of my heroes. I would have just been chuffed to be on the list, you know.
Brilliant. Get this now on iTunes. It's also in the shops, okay?
That's it.
Well done with Bruce Springsteen. I didn't go to the concert, but Bruce Springsteen found out about you, and usually he doesn't have people opening for him at shows anywhere in the world. How did that happen? I mean, did you get the phone call? Dan, listen, if you got a bit of time off this weekend, Bruce would like you to open for him. What was it like?
Well, we got a call from Big Concert saying, like a silly question, would you be interested in opening for Bruce Springsteen? We think, let me think about that for a second. Definitely, you know what I mean? It was one of the most daunting things I've ever done. It was the most fantastic thing. And the most daunting part was Bruce watched the whole show from the wings. You know, if it's not heavy enough playing for 80,000 people, and then you kind of look to your left and there's Bruce kind of in the wings. It's like, wow, the attention levels were up there. But I mean, what an honor. You know, it was definitely the highlight of my career, without a doubt.
Did you meet the band? Did you meet Bruce afterwards?
I met Bruce, and I got to meet Tom Morello, who I was just like, so chuffed to meet, you know.
Brilliant.
So I just met those guys, and both of them were the most down-to-earth guys you could ever meet, man. So fantastic.
But Dan, you never know. I mean, if something happens to one of their guitarists in Bruce Springsteen's band, you'll get a call maybe. I mean, would you go for it?
Oh yeah, wow.
Can you imagine,
It's silly not to, yeah.
But that's how it works all over the world. I mean, South Africa, it's a bit tough because we don't have all those big stars here every day and every night, and touring and a lot of concerts happening. So if you're on stage somewhere in the UK at a festival or whatever, it takes one person to spot you, man. That's how easy it is. Eh?
That's exactly the vibe, yeah.
You got a couple of shows coming up. Grab your phone there. I want to find out where you're playing or whatever.
Yes, of course.
Moritz Lotz, brilliant guitarist, one of my favorites as well. Eitenuwe CD8. Does he never Moritz Lotz? And then you can get the Jesse Clegg Unplugged. This is at all his concerts and stuff. So you can only buy it after the gig. Okay, so go and check this out. Okay, so that's the one you should get. And then there's a new Smashing Pumpkins out. Are you a big fan?
Big fan.
There we go, new Smashing Pumpkins. And then a couple of DVDs, Leading Lady. Have you ever been in a movie before?
No, I must
Leading
say.
Lady, that's on DVD now. Bok van Blerk.
Hey.
And then Walking on Sunshine, another great DVD out. So those are a couple of things for you to get hold of. We're going to play a gig's coming up quickly.
Right. the 25th, Wednesday, we're playing in Pretoria.
That's in March, 25th of March.
That's
okay.
all right. Cafe Barcelona.
Lovely venue.
Next day, we're playing Empress Palace Barnyard.
Yeah.
That's the 26th of March. And there's like a whole host of other shows coming up, and I think possibly the best is to go to my website, which is danpatlansky.com, if you can spell Patlansky.
You're a three-piece band now.
That's
right?
a three-piece band, yeah.
And then just tell us quickly about your European tour. You're playing at amazing venues.
Yeah, we've after that nomination, we've kind of cracked the nod to play some great venues in the UK. The Borderline being one of them, which is this iconic London venue.
You told me, sorry to interrupt you, you were at the Borderline a couple of years ago. You just wanted to go in to see,
Just
and
have
they
a look.
chased you out, or what happened?
They chased it. They wouldn't even let us have a look in there. It was such an exclusive kind of venue and a exclusive type thing. So it's fantastic to actually be booked to play there this
Well, you've
time.
got your own dressing room now in
Hey,
the venue, so
there
it's
you
cool.
go, you know.
So Borderline, what else?
Borderline, we're playing up Mr. Cribs in Poole. We're playing, wow, I forget now. We're playing all over the UK. Fiddlers or Fibbers,
Fiddler, yeah.
Fibbers, I think it's called, in York. We're playing Greystones in Sheffield. We're doing a few things in Germany on the tour too, like just quickly popping over to Germany
But
to do some
how
stuff.
do you find the people in the UK, do they love their blues? I mean,
Wow,
the
yeah.
Rolling Stones started there and they were influenced by the blues or whatever, but there is a huge market for blues musicians in the UK.
It's massive, and Europe, and like Germany and like Netherlands and places. It's massive. There's a hotbed for blues rock there at the moment, and it's a fantastic place to tour. It's quite daunting because it's a real discerning audience. You know what I mean? They're kind of, you mess up a bit, you know, they're going to be like, call you out on it. You know what I mean? But it's fantastic there. The numbers are great at the moment. You know, we're still in the beginning stages there, obviously. But it's fantastic. Yeah.
Dan Patlansky, you're a legend, my man.
Thank you, man. Thank you so
Baie
much.
dankie.
Really appreciate it.
Okay, and go and buy his new CD. Ek is weer volgende week terug. Cheers.